Oh, hey, didn't see you there. We have more boots because it's full of it down here.
Yeah, I should probably explain. We've been allowed to look inside the Adidas archive, which holds an insane amount of historical products. Now, I've already taken a trip down memory lane looking at some really cool F50 boots with some other good random stuff. And today I'll look at what is arguably Adidas' most iconic, and potentially also most important football boot ever.
What we have here on the table, as you can see, is a lot of Predators. And you might recognize some of them, but there will also be a couple that you've probably never seen before and will wonder, what is that, Jay? And I'm gonna try and tell you at my best ability, because I also haven't seen a lot of this stuff before, like... but we're gonna get through it. The Predator originated back in 1994, but there's a backstory before that where you've obviously heard the story around how Craig Johnston, the ex-Liverpool player, he innovated the whole concept. He was out teaching kids how to apply swerve on the ball. He said, you have to do the motion as if you're playing table tennis, like you apply swerve to a table tennis ball. And the kid said, but a football boot doesn't have rubber on it like a table tennis bat. So Craig Johnston went home, he stripped the table tennis bat and wrapped it around a boot. And after a couple of back and forths with Adidas and actually making the boot, taking it to the Bayern Munich leadership that had connections to Adidas, convincing them, they finally agreed to make the boot. And this is the final product that came out in 1994. 100% legal, 0% fair. And it basically shaped the boot into what we see today. But before that came out in 1994, they also did some prototypes, as you can see here. In 1993, where they were working with the rubber elements here, the Predator elements, but they really wanted to maximize the amount of elements they had on the forefoot here to connect with the ball. And that also meant that they had to minimize the lacing a little bit. So they did that. You only have like 2 lace holes, which is wild, to say the least. It almost went laceless in 1993, which is cool. But also the tongue is crazy because with only 2 lace holes, you have a lot of pressure coming from the laces. So to combat that, you actually have an inflatable tongue. You can see here, you can actually blow some air into the tongue with a pump that, like, that's pretty wild, to be fair. I've never seen this one before. 1993. Obviously, what we also have is a lot of player exclusive, custom boots for pro players. We have this David Beckham Predator Precision from 2001. I'll be very careful not to touch the rubber band because it is not in the best shape. And that's what happens with older boots with these elastic rubber bands holding down the tongue. They don't really age all that well. But on Beckham's Precision here, he was the first player to get a larger tongue. He loved his fold-over tongue, so they made it larger for him. And obviously it has all his little customizations here. The England flag, the date, his name on here. Really, really cool to see. And just, as a Man United fan myself, seeing an actual Beckham custom boot in the flesh is quite special. We also have the Zidane Precision from 2000, where he won World Player of the Year, in gold, which is something I'd actually come to terms with never seeing this in the flesh in my life either. And now I'm holding it in my hands. I'm trying not to shake because this is big, you know. Red Predator tongue, gold stitching, his signature on there. I mean, yeah, this is a moment to cherish. Obviously, very, very cool. And I guess a one-off? There's just a couple of these, right? So yeah, Beckham Predator Manias 2002 for the World Cup. Japanese stitching on the tongue and on the instep here, which is cool. You know, the little Beckham, that's actually not stitched on, but just like printed on, which is amazing. Bigger tongue, SG outsole, it's one of those things you just need to see. Jude Bellingham Preds, because why not? This never came in SG, but Jude got it in SG because he's Jude Bellingham, and he's the new guy. So yeah, it's signed obviously. And there's lots more on this table, because now we've seen some of the stuff that you might recognize, but there's also like, this is 2006, and obviously it's not a football boot, but this is basically Adidas playing with the concept of having like a mesh with some TPU reinforcement on the outside. What then happened, we saw on the Adi Zero, for instance, in 2010, that they used this TPU skeleton on the inside of the boot to create that stability and that structure to give you lockdown and what you need. So interesting to see that they just play with all sorts of weird concepts on the Predators, on the prototypes to end up well, somewhere close to what they worked on. There are other concepts, however, that never saw the light of day. We can start back in 1998, maybe 97, with a Predator accelerator prototype here, which, as you can see, it has the accelerator stripes, but the shot elements are not exactly very accelerator-like. They're big, they are very, very chunky compared to the usual accelerator elements, and it's just, I guess, them playing with and trying out to see what works. How do we get the best connection on the ball, but how does it also flex with the foot to not make it super, super Predator edge-like? That was unbearable to move around in. What's also interesting here is that it has a little bit of like a, is that a, yeah? A little bit of a hidden lacing. That's nice too. You love to see that. That's, you know, prototype things, that's always great. And the Predator Accelerator will always be, in my book, one of the most beautiful boots, design-wise, that's ever been made. But it gets crazier. Let's go with this from 2010. I have no idea what it's called. I have no idea what it was ever supposed to be other than a Predator. The outsole is something I have never seen before on a boot that was actually released. There was rumblings of like a concept boot for you know, Adidasler, honoring his legacy back in 2010. Whether this is a part of it, I don't really know, but it's absolutely crazy. It has vibes of like an Adi Zero outsole with the power spine technology that was supposed to stiffen up the forefoot and give you more power in your shot. But then also it has these really weird SL rubber elements that are slightly chunky on both the inside and the outside of the forefoot. It has this rubberized leather that has a really weird feel to it. Some very soft stitching, Adi stripes here on the inside. Weird hidden lacing, lace cover kind of thing that I don't really know what it's supposed to do, but it looks funky. And probably one of the most unique Predator prototypes I think I've ever seen. Whether it would actually work in today's game or back in 2010, I'm not sure. But yeah, I mean, if this had come out instead of the Predator X, I would not have complained. This looks better. There's also, of course, I forgot to mention this, the Predator Avero, which was a 2003-2004 thing, basically a Predator pulse, but without the Predator elements on it, so just a full leather upper, but a pulse nonetheless. It was called the Avero, came out in late 2003, but was obviously launched for the 2004 year, 2005, and just beautiful. These, back in the day, Adidas made the non-Predator versions of the Predators that were actually really, really nice. And finally, we have, well, we're gonna end with this because this is one of my favorite Preds ever, but before that, we have this bad boy that is just called Predator. Again, I've absolutely no idea what it is or what it's supposed to be, but I'm being told it's like a 2013 thing. It says on the tooling. It has vibes of like a Predator Lethal Zones thing because you have different elements. It's a rather soft synthetic upper. There's no tongue. It says Adi Power on the tongue. I'm just, someone had a field day just playing around with this, I guess. Little bit of like little studs under the forefoot, I guess something that we might see turned into what came out on the Instinct with the little control studs under the forefoot and all. Also, a funky concept. And finally, just, you know, it's just the standard Adi Power, but to me, one of the best Predators ever made. Actually, it ditched kangaroo leather. They did so on the X, which was kind of rubbish, but this was really good. It was Taurus leather, so calfskin, but it just had a lovely, lovely fit, really lightweight, and yeah, it did what a Predator was supposed to do, even without the tongue. So, oh yeah, 2017, they made this, like, it was like a mashup of what they did with all the knit and the sock collar thing, and then the OG accelerator upper here, made an all white out for David Beckham, of course, in his 7/23/32 collection. Also cool. Probably not something I would wear that much on the pitch, but on the shelf in an archive, it's cool to have. And this is just like a fraction. And I could talk for hours, guys, but yeah.
Exactly. If you've stuck with me all the way to the end, I applaud you. And still, I hope you've enjoyed seeing some proper special Preds from the archives. Of course, we're gonna have way more stuff coming, looking at all the walk-up balls ever made, plus a video on some of the earliest Adidas innovations with a lot of other cool stuff. But that can wait, because right now I want to hear what your favorite Predator is in the comment section right down below. Of course, you can buy it if you want the newest one in the link to your right. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel and want more football boot nerdery, hit that subscribe button before you bounce. I'm gonna do the same. Signing off. Cheerio.